Welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Higher Line podcast. We've got a reoccurring guest and somebody you've seen in many of the CarryTrainer videos from things like S12 and some other stuff, my friend Talon.
What's going on, dude?
You're sitting in like your lair.
I've been sitting in this chair editing and playing and stuff all day. Oh man, you got a beer?
I almost never have any alcohol when I'm doing this. It's because I normally record these at like 8, 9, 10 in the morning.
I'm ill prepared. I got a whole thing of whiskey over there in a cabinet.
Connect a bunch of straws together.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go over there with it. So what's up, man?
Well, you and I just were talking. We've both been really busy. I thought it was a good time to catch back up with you because you've, well, let's see, the last time that we chatted with you, you had just pulled the plug on your day job and went full time into the world of being an influencer.
Yeah, I hate that word. Still, I'm pretty sure
I hate it more than anything
back then, and I still hate it now.
I hated it more than anything.
Yeah.
Influencer. What is a good word that we could coin for that?
Typically, like when it comes up, that word comes up a lot. But if someone's asking me and they have no idea, I just tell them that I'm either a YouTuber, which I don't even really like saying that, or I also say that I'm just a video creator, videographer, photographer, things like that. Content creator,
art, which then motivates people to buy product.
Yeah. Content creator is another good one. But even that, it just has a weird ring to it in my eyes.
You're legit living like the dream of many young people. You gave up, you're a college educated guy, you gave up a good job where you had the safety net, I guess, of a paycheck and insurance and all that security to travel around in a badass 4-wheel drive motorhome.
Yep.
And make videos of you skateboarding and skiing and shooting guns, and
that is the dream. I just actually did a very rough plan of a road trip for 2020 already. Yeah. So that's going to be the whole traveling around in a van is going to be in full effect more than ever. I tried to put a pin in the lower 48, one in every state. And it's looking like it's going to be like a 4 or 5 month trip, maybe.
Are you doing it like systematically, or are you like?
Yeah, sort of like zigzagging around, not trying to like trace my steps more than I have to. I'll shoot you a picture of it then, though. I put it up on Instagram earlier, and I'll be swinging through your area towards the end of the trip, like when I'm working my way back east.
Okay. So you're going to come like back on 90 or 80 and.
I'm looking at the map above me right now. I'll be coming before I'm coming into Illinois, I'll be in Wisconsin, probably like Milwaukee area. So I'll be coming south.
That's right by me.
Yeah.
94 coming down, and you'll be right by us. Yeah, you have to come visit.
Cool.
You and I were talking the other day. You had a substantial portion of your income taken from you by the monster Google YouTube.
By the man. Yeah.
By the man, yeah. Talk about that a little bit, because the same thing happened to us and many other people.
Yeah, so, a few months ago when you called me or texted me and you told me that your entire channel had been demonetized, you're like, what do I do? And I was like, dude, we're all like pawns in this game. I don't know what to tell you. I don't even have a partner didn't have a partner manager at the time, so I wasn't much help to you. And then same thing happened to me. My entire channel,
sucker, I can't help you. And then like 2 days later, like,
yeah, I'm like, oh, well, here we go. Like,
yeah.
And I knew that I had friends in YouTube who are bigger than me, who I could reach out to. But even then, like it's not like a thing where we can like band together to like correct things. There's just so many unknowns. So yeah, what happened was YouTube said I was in violation of their firearms policy. And I tried to reach out to them and say like, hey, what's going on? They came back and said, oh, well, it's not the firearms. It looks like you're uploading reused content. like I'm re-uploading videos. And I was like, okay,
Which you
well that's,
never do.
yeah, I was like, that's not the case. So this is all in the same day. Like, if you could just like, let me know, what can I do to fix it? I'll do whatever I can to fix it so we can get back on track. They
And
said,
you were
look,
earning a substantial living enough that you were able to quit your other job.
yeah, for basically losing my AdSense on my channel at the time was like completely losing my salary from my previous job.
So just so people understand what we're talking about, so like there's a lot of misconceptions. People think that if there's like a YouTube channel that's got like a bunch of views or a bunch of subscribers, it automatically means that that person that is on the channel is making a bunch of money, which isn't the case. How it works is YouTube allows advertisers to give them money, and then their ad is placed on content that people like we create. And YouTube told us your videos are not suitable for us to sell ad space, right?
Right.
It's like your road is no good for billboards.
Correct.
Yeah.
So talking with their support the initial day they demonetized me didn't really lead anywhere. They said, we'll respond to you within, I think they said 3 to 4 days or something like that. So that time frame had passed. I was being patient. I go to reach out again, and here they removed my entire channel from their partnership program, which gives you the ads, and it also gives you an ability to contact YouTube, whether it's their live chat or email or some way to get things fixed if anything goes wrong. So now they removed all of the contact I had with them. So I'm completely
in the dark.
Yeah, I have nowhere to go, nothing that I could possibly do. And to make this long story short, I weighed every option possible. I thought about systematically deleting videos until maybe I could possibly apply again. But there's a 30-day wait period. You can't apply after being removed from the program for 30 days. So again, long story short, what I decided the absolute best thing for me to do was to start a second channel, which is the Sunday Gunday channel. Sunday Gunday is basically probably what got it demonetized in the first place, because on the Creator Studio app it said firearms policy.
Mm-hmm.
So started uploading videos to that second channel. It took forever. It was like 105 videos total. And then once they were all archived over there, I deleted them from the main channel. So my main channel, Talon Sei, lost, I think it was 15.8 million views in one day. Deleted all of them at once, which is unreal. Like, I'm deleting some videos that went like semi-viral. Like, I probably deleted 4 or 5 videos that had 1 million views on their own. And they were all good videos ranked in the algorithm, and they were performing well.
That's hurtful, man.
Yeah, it was like sticking a knife in myself. However, I stayed positive through it all because I know that this is going to be the best thing for me. So I was able to reapply for monetization after I got everything cleaned, and now it's in a review process. And they said the review process, and I quote, will take about a month or so until we give you a decision. I'm like, yo, my channel has close to 500,000 subscribers, and I've been in the partner program for like 2+ years before that. What is so hard about this decision? Like, I know they need manpower, but look at how much money that you guys are missing out on, because I'm missing out on something that is substantial to me. Like, you would think that they would treat their creators a little bit better. But that's the boat I'm in right now, and I'm waiting on a response from them, which will hopefully come around Thanksgiving. But
So let's talk about that. Is it a little bit of an abusive relationship that we have? Like, is it like Hollywood back in the day where the actors got paid shit? Like the Three Stooges, people like that, they made all this money for these mogul studios, and these people would be living in, like, you know, some of them dirt. And they're making, you know, they're getting that movie that just came out about, what's her name? I can't believe I can't think of her name from Wizard of Oz. What's her name?
Oh, I have no idea. The old Wizard of Oz? I have no idea.
I can't believe I can't think of her. Judy Garland.
Judy,
They did a movie about her, and she had a drug and alcohol problem, but in the movie they kind of talk about like the big production studios giving these young actors and actresses drugs like amphetamines to keep them up so they could keep working them, and then telling them things like, if you don't keep going, we'll find somebody to replace you. You know?
I think there is a bad relationship between YouTube as a whole and like people like you and I on there. However, I think it's such a big platform that it's like out of their control. They don't have the manpower to meet our needs.
Yeah.
And we're in a weird time now where, I mean, like a year and a half ago when the whole adpocalypse thing happened, like YouTube is going through some crazy changes. I don't know if you know about the FTC thing with COPA that just happened.
I'm not familiar.
COPA is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act or something like that.
Yeah, we had to mark all of our videos as like not suitable for children.
Right. So the FTC came in and they said, hey, we can't have you guys, they're talking to creators as a whole on the platform. We can't have people on here marketing towards kids unless we know about it. Because there's a lot of channels out there who look at the number one paid channel across the entire platform is Ryan's Toy Reviews. It's a YouTube channel of a little kid. He might be like 8 years old now, run by his family, his mom and dad, and he unboxes toys. And a lot of the videos are sponsored by toy companies and stuff like that. And the FTC found a problem with it, which we don't need to get into all that. But there's a lot of weird changes like that stuff going on right now. And I don't think that they have the manpower to cope with it. And it sucks because everyone is complaining about it. It's not just people like you and me. It's not just people who are affected by this new FTC ruling that's going into place. It's there's just issues left and right no matter where you look. And I mean,
I don't know if I complain about it. The way I look at it is it's like here, YouTube, Google. Who created YouTube? Who was the guy that sold it?
I forget. I think he was from Pennsylvania, though, like near my area.
Yeah, I can't believe we can't think of his name. Everybody listening probably knows, but here's this platform. The way I look at it is it's like I said billboard a minute ago. It's like somebody's like, hey, Mick, there's a free billboard. If you want to climb up on the ladder and paint shit up there, be my guest. Right. Like that's kind of the way I look at it. And like folks complain like it's censorship. And I know that the easy argument is it's their private business. And as such, they can do what they want. But now that, like you said, it's grown so big that, like, at what point does it kind of spill over into public sector where it's because it has become like the new mode of communication? Like now Talon can't express himself or Mickey can't. Or
and I'm in the same position. Like when I first made the video explaining the situation to everyone on my channel, people were pissed. Like they were like, I don't know how any of this works, but you need a lawyer and someone needs to do something about this and blah, 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 which I love. Like, I love that everyone is supportive and they know that
you're going to sue Google, man.
Yeah. That's like, it's like, come on, guys. Like
Congress can't get them to do anything, let alone.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, well, I just like laugh it off and kind of shake my head. I'm like, listen, the ball, I said this in my video, like verbatim too. I said, the ball is in YouTube's court. It always has been in their court, and it will most likely always be in their court because of how big they are. So like
it would take like a boycott of a billion people to be able to. Yeah.
And there's like YouTube has given me so many crazy, awesome opportunities in the past like 3 years now.
We wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for social media.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I'm okay with I have to be okay with what they're doing because I love what I do and I appreciate the opportunities that it's given me. Does it suck? Yes. However, it hasn't sucked enough to a point where it made me want to go back to a job or to do something else, which would be a huge, massive, massive change. So unfortunately, we're just kind of like stuck with it for now, and we just hope that things get better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You do a bunch of different stuff. One of the things that you do is like besides the travel and the shooting, is skiing. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been a professional ski boarder. So ski boarding, first of all, is they're short, fat skis, one for each foot. They were designed after snowboards, and this was very, very early on in the 90s. And then a company, Solomon, came out with some knockoffs of like crappy foam versions of them. They were called ski blades. So everyone refers to it as ski blading, although that's not correct. So ski boarding is a sport. It's been in the 90s. It's been in the X Games. It's been all over the place. Now freestyle skiing has taken it over. But I ride for this company based out of, they're based out of Wash, Oregon now, I believe. And I travel around the country and make videos for them as I'm skiing with my friends. And I stopped playing structured sports in high school and started ski boarding full time. And now that's a big part of what I do in the winter months for sure.
Is the skiing?
Yeah, skiing. We do a big trip out to Lake Tahoe every year. So I'm out there for about a week, like doing a lot of filming and photography and stuff like that. And then early in the season, I'm here on the East Coast, and we used to do a bunch of like tours, and the community is still pretty active. Like there's a lot of ski boarders throughout the country, and we all basically know each other. So there's a couple meetups. There's a Midwest meet. There's an East Coast meet, and yeah, it's another fun thing that I make videos on.
And get paid to play. Get paid to have fun.
I don't get paid to ski board, actually.
Well, I'm saying you're out there making videos, though. You're making your content and all that good stuff.
That's what's great about YouTube too. Like I have all of these hobbies, and if I'm making videos while I'm enjoying these hobbies, that's me making money while I'm doing fun stuff. Like
living your best life, man.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you have? You know, people look at folks like you and say, must be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Must be nice.
All the time.
Must be nice. Guy's got a 6-figure 4-wheel drive motorhome, all hippied out that he drives around in. Must be nice.
The people who say, I mean, we talked about this last time too.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's such a great conversation.
I think the people who say must be nice are also the people who think that it's easy. So what I would say to them is just do it. Like I will lay out in front of you everything, every tip and trick that I know about YouTube, and give you any kind of advice that I have on anything. Like I have nothing to hide. The only way you're going to see results as far as growing an audience is one, making good content, like be interesting, do something a little different. Even if it's not, even before that, actually, it's doing it and posting videos, being consistent with it. A lot of people will be awesome creators and post really good videos, but they'll do 2, 3, 5 videos, and then they're like, oh, this isn't catching on. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, so I'm just going to do something else. I'm going to go back to my job.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you're not doing it for yourself in the beginning, then you're going to fall flat right from the beginning. So I started my channel just doing it for fun. I know you started your stuff just doing it to educate people, and we do it because we enjoy it. And
it's most definitely work, though, man. Like you talk about it, it's not just like like Drew spends thousands of hours a year editing and cutting and cleaning sound and doing all that. Like it's a massive undertaking to do it correctly. You ever look at any of the stuff that you produced a long time ago and like, oh God, what the heck?
I look at stuff that I produced last week and do that. Like in the moment, I'm like, yeah, this is good. I'm gonna put this out.
That's whenever you see me singing, that's me thinking this is a good idea.
You're wearing your short shorts.
That's just a normal day.
Yeah, but again, like when people say it must be nice, I'm like, okay, well, try it. Like, take a step into my life and do what I do on a daily basis. Yes, a lot of the times, like it's cool. I do a lot of fun stuff. However, people are in that mindset that all we do is fun stuff because they only see the end product.
Yeah,
they don't see us. Well, in my case, you're lucky because you're in a position where you can hire a filmer and an editor.
I'm lucky.
You are. What would you call it?
Well, I mean, what created the environment where we can have people helping? I mean, we did enough work that we can. Well, you know what? Let's go back on that.
I'll say you're fortunate enough where you can do that.
But that's on purpose, though. A lot of people. One thing I learned a long time ago is if there's somebody that can do it better than me, I probably shouldn't be doing it. Like, I got friends like, well, I can do my own brakes rather than pay some idiot. Yeah, but you don't really know what you're doing. And I'm making an example. Like, I've fixed my own car many times, but like there's guys that are just cheap and don't want to spend it. I'll spend money hand over fist if I know that it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah, so, true.
That's the other thing. Like, I can't edit like Drew. I don't have my editing skills are like, oh, my Samsung Notes got a little app I can download. You know, that's
right. So like some people, I'll say, instead of lucky, I'll say you're fortunate where you can make enough money to support a full-time editor and videographer.
I got to add one more thing. There's plenty of time that he and I both didn't make a damn red cent and knew we got to keep pushing and cranking. And
that's true. So people don't see the work that people like Drew does and you early on. Like, I'm running, I do everything start to finish. So I'm running cameras, I'm doing the editing, I'm doing the post-production, I'm doing photography like on the side for thumbnails and stuff like that. I'm answering emails, which is so annoying. And then
go into that for a minute.
Dude.
Let me hear like an annoying email. What do you like? So that's customer service 101. Like, what do you?
Oh my God. So we were talking about
baby?
Like getting.
My name's Kyle and I want you to have my baby. Like stuff like that.
We were talking about when you get to a point where you can pass off the stuff that you know people will do better. The first thing that I will pass off once I get to that level, like being able to employ someone, first thing I'm passing off is emails and like busy computer work. I still want to film, I still want to edit, but if that's all I have to do and I don't have to send emails and talk to people on the phone and like do all the businessy meeting type of stuff, then I'm cool with that. Like, I need an assistant for that. You said you don't like that?
No, I said that's what you're saying. You don't like that stuff.
Yeah. Which I like it to an extent. Like, I enjoy doing it sometimes. However, the videos have to come first, and I want them to come first because that's what I enjoy doing. So when I have meetings or I have my phone blowing up as I'm trying to film, it's like, it's really distracting, and I'd rather just focus on creating first and foremost.
It's definitely a balancing act in small business. I've been working for myself forever, and it used to be a real drag on the relationship, like with my wife and kids, like, because you put the work in and then the phone rings and you got to answer it or respond. And you reach a point though where you learn when you can say, I'll answer that tomorrow, or you should reach that point.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So it's tricky, but I forget where we were going with the.
We were talking about that. I'm lucky because we scraped and scrimped and able to grow. Hey, there's plenty of things I record myself. Did you see the last video I did at TA Targets? Did you happen to see that?
Was it on your Instagram? I don't know if I saw it.
It's on YouTube. Oh, no, it's like it's a pretty
the factory tour.
Yeah, man, I had 4 cameras. And everybody mic'd up. I did all the audio. I sprinted, and it was like 100 degrees in that factory. And I ran, moving cameras around. Okay, you stand here. You do this. And we were there for like 5 hours filming. And then that was after a 4-day class. And then I had to get in the car after I'm drenched in sweat and drive 20 hours home.
Yeah, that's what people don't get, that like videos don't film themselves. It's just like any social media. Like you see all of these, like, I'll use Instagram models as an example. They're always like,
you talking like
in bikinis laying on beaches, yeah, shit like that. And they're like, their life looks so glamorous, but you know that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I partake every once in a while.
I'm joking, wife.
Yeah, but it's not all glamorous. Like a lot of people are living outside of their comfort zone to put on a facade.
Yeah.
Thinking that they're impressing these people, keeping up with the Joneses, stuff like that.
That's interesting. And now we're talking about a little bit of like like the people in that position that are putting themselves out there to pay the bills and stuff, is it genuine, and are they doing it, like, what are the reasons? It does, I give a lot of times the reasons don't matter, but personally, there's content I would never do because to me it's contrived and bullshit, and it's not something I'm interested in.
It's hard as like my channel's been growing too, because there have been times this is kind of few and far between, but there are times when companies would come to me with an offer like, hey, could you review this, or would you do this and that for X amount of dollars? And I watched a video recently which had really good advice in it. It was by a dude named Dan Mace. He's out of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
He works with another big YouTuber, Casey Neistat. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah.
And he was referring to him in this like little like quick documentary style thing. And Casey said he has a $1 rule when it comes to like stuff like this. If you wouldn't do it for $1, don't do it for $1 million. So it's kind of like don't. I mean, not everyone's going to follow this.
I dig it. That's actually my exact philosophy. I say, if I'm going to promote a product, it's something I'd use that I bought myself, would give to my family member, would share with you without ever knowing the company, because it's a product I like or love or believe in. So I think that's probably the same basic premise. His is a little cleaner.
Yeah, and that's how I started a lot of my relationships that are still great from today. Like a big company I work with is Travax. They make like wallets and gear and stuff like that. And I have a great relationship with them now because I found them when my channel was small. They were on Kickstarter, and I reviewed their products because I bought them and they were great. And they continually get better and better. And now everyone, like, I think it's pretty clear that people know that is my story with that company. But there's a lot of companies like that too. There's some pistol custom manufacturers, people who do a lot of custom works to guns, and I worked very closely with them from the beginning, and now I'm working on big projects with them as well. So it's kind of one of those things, like, you remember who helped you early on, and you stick with them, and that's kind of like your circle of people who you build each other up. What's
the perception by the public sometimes? You're just being paid by them, thus you. That's my relationship with Vetter Holsters. I've worked with them since they were dudes in a garage, a dad and son in a garage, sweating it out. Now they're on Inc. top 500 growing companies in the United States. Like, pretty badass. So people say like, oh, you just get, no, like, I knew these, like, I bought their stuff. I think our code's been used like 3,800 times or something in the last year with them. Like, I promote the stuff, but I believe in it, and we've been there since. And it's not like they're sending me money every month to do that.
Right. And I'm the same way. Like, I have a holster sitting here. This is
your buddies.
Buddy of mine, still works out of his garage. I was a customer of his. I found him on Instagram way back when I was in college. It was 2014. But in
this world, that stuff changes so often. Like, this world of social media, 4 or 5 years is a long time.
So his company was like brand new. I wasn't even doing YouTube at the time, but I bought a bunch of his holsters, and then I started my channel, and I reviewed the stuff that I had because I'm like, hey, this is a good product. He saw that. He was like, hey, man, I appreciate the nice review. Let me send you another holster. And that's how that relationship started. And now we're homies. Like, I was just out in Vegas last week hanging out for a week.
You spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah, it's a good relationship, and I like building my relationships like that with people like yourself and companies. Like, if I can't sit down and talk like this with a company or a person, if I can't share a meal with you or like have a beer or something like that.
You've slept at my house.
I've slept at your house. Yeah. Like, I don't want to associate with you if I don't feel comfortable like that.
While you were sleeping.
You did what?
I said I filmed everything while you were sleeping.
You probably did. I had to check the room for cameras. I'm like lifting up.
Well, what you're talking about is exactly, you and I think that's why we appreciate each other. It's like, I mean, I'm not like, I don't only do business with people that I'm friends with, but
Right.
you might make a good product, but if you're a asshole and you're like, there's definitely people in the firearms industry that are just pricks. I don't want to promote your product. You might make something nice, but I'd rather not have it.
Yeah. A lot of it comes down to like the human element for me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you don't have that, we're not going to end up working together, especially because I'm at a point, and I know you're at a point now, where when people come to us looking for promotion or looking to build that relationship, we can be picky and choosy. Like I have a ton of like, if I wanted to work with another holster company, I could easily do that.
Sure.
If I wanted to work with another company who makes EDC goods like wallets and belts and stuff like that, easily could. But their initial approach when companies are reaching out like that sets the tone for how the rest of it's going to go. And if it starts off on a bad foot, chances are there's no coming back from that. In my working with me, I should say. It's not the case for everyone, but
I had a major company that makes lights and lasers connect with me. They were referred to me from somebody, and I was in there. They wanted to, hey, we're going to send you this, do a video. I'm like, I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you want to send it to me, I'll check it out. And if I love it, I'll do a video. But like, you're not just going to send it to me and I'm going to do a video. Like, I don't do that.
Right.
But that, if you want, I can give you to a couple guys that I know that will. And they're like, well, what do you mean you don't? That's not what I do. And I said, well, why don't I do this? My calendar's taking me like 10 miles from your corporate office. We'll hang out. We'll have coffee. We'll see if we like each other. And if we do, we'll see where it leads. Like, and I explained what we're talking about. Like, I don't want to just promote your stuff because you want to spend me money, and I don't need to. Anyway, I'm supposed to go see him the day and I'm across the country, like a couple thousand miles from home. They cancel the appointment 8 hours beforehand. I got a hotel right near the office. A meeting came up, and then they don't answer the phone, and they got like, because they thought I was being a dick and just wanted me to take free shit and make videos. Like, and that, like, perfect. That is exactly why I don't just take your shit and make free videos. Exactly. And I'm not mad about it. It was really a super annoying thing at the time. I had another visit with another company the next day. So I met some friends, had dinner, whatever, relaxed and made it work. But like, I'm not going to badmouth them. I'm not going to say who it is, but like, that is, and this was the guy that's like their vice president of sales and marketing that blew me off. Like, all right, man, like, goes around, comes around.
I had a situation similar to that recently. A company, so kind of a long story, but friend of a friend put me in contact with this company, and this guy's like running a lot of their marketing stuff. Hey man, what can I do to get a review on your channel? Checked out what they make, and make a nice looking gun. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't need guns. I don't need any more. However, because you're a friend of my friend, if you send me the gun and I check it out and I like it, same thing as you, like, I'll probably make a video on it. And when it comes to a gun, like, I'm always looking to put out content on new stuff, whether it's good or bad. Like, if it's bad, I'll say that it's bad. But if it is bad, I will give you a chance to fix it first. So reach out to me, or they send a gun out to me, pick it up, and
just so the listeners are understanding, all of these transactions are done legally.
Yeah,
go on, continue.
Through FFLs and everything.
Yeah.
So go up to my range.
I hate that I have to say that, but I am.
Yeah, no, that's good. Some people don't understand that. Go up to my range, film probably 15 minutes. Like, here, this is what we're taking a look at today. I do a lot of nice B-roll, like my typical Sunday Gunday videos.
This is like at least a day out of your life to do a video like that. At least a day with all the pre-planning,
right?
Day, and then
so this is emailing. This is transfers at FFLs, which cost money. They were not supplying ammo or anything, so already this is costing me time and money before I even get to
couple days of your life and ammo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a couple of hours out of a day, and it's just like it makes things inconvenient if something like I'm about to tell you would happen. So up there, it's the only gun I brought with me, which I do not, other than like my EDC gun, the only gun that I brought to film with me that day, and I don't make that mistake anymore. I always bring more than one gun to film because I go to shoot, failure to feed. Okay, shoot some more, failure to eject. I ran 150 rounds through this gun, and every single mag I put through it had an issue.
Mm.
Called the dude. I'm like, yo, what's going on with this? Like, I'm trying to do this. And like, did you even shoot this gun before you sent it out to me? What's the deal? How can you fix this? They're like, oh, sorry, man. Like, might be the tension on the extractor or something, blah, blah, blah. Trying to troubleshoot over the phone. So I am pretty fed up at this point. Come back home, try to fix it. Can't get the thing running. And I'm like, listen, man, like, I don't know what you want me to do with this. He's like, I'll send out a replacement, send that one back to us. Okay. Like, I'll let this slide, but I already filmed the gun malfunctioning, and I'm going to put that in the future video. Like, this is a thing.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. I'm not going to just act like, oh yeah, this gun's great right out of the box. Like that video is going in the final video. So they send the replacement gun. Keep in mind, I kept 2 of the mags that the first one shipped with because they're going to be using the same mags. I'm doing a review for you. They send a gun, and it's the wrong gun. Still takes the same mags, but it's the wrong gun. I'm like, hey, man, this is not what we agreed on. Like, I didn't want your gun in the first place, and I really don't want this gun that I didn't pick. So, like, now I'm, like, extra fed up. I also had to drive an hour to a UPS location to drop it off to send it back. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. That's all we had available right now. And I'm like, whatever. I already had a lot of my talking points and everything written up. So like, I know what I want to say about the gun. I already filmed a little bit with it. I already shot 150 rounds. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet, do this video. The day before I went up to film, I texted the dude. I said, hey, man, what happened with the other guns? So, like, I know. I want to give the viewers a response so I can, like, tell them what's going on with it. He's like, oh, man, I don't know. I'm just, like, the marketing guy. Like, I would have to see it in person or talk to the team. I'm like, okay. So, you're reaching out to me for a review, and this is how you're going to treat your customers. Your customer support so far, terrible. So, like, getting closer to ending this whole thing. The final thing that pushed me over the edge, it was like the day before. Yeah, it was the day before I'm going to film. I get an email from the shipping department. They said, hey, we sent you this gun originally with 2 mags, and they weren't in the box when you sent it back. Send them back, please. And I was like, you know what? Immediately went to UPS, dropped the gun off with 4 magazines, and sent the gun back. Didn't even reply to the email. I'm just like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. Like, if you don't understand the value that I'm providing you for free, like, your cost for the gun, I could charge you 10 times.
5 times that. Yeah, right.
Like,
did you call your buddy up that asked you to do the solid?
I told they weren't asking me to do a solid. They were just like, hey, I know this person. You might be interested. I did tell that person, and like, they had nothing to do with it. I just told them the story like I'm telling you, just so they know. And then finally, the dude who I was having this conversation with reached out to me, and he was like, yo, man, what's the deal? I told him straight up, I'm like, if this is how you're going to treat me, who's doing a favor for you to almost 500,000 people, how are you going to treat the customer that paid full price for this gun and they have the same issue? Like, how are they going to feel when they get treated like this? I was like, sorry, this is not how I do business. I don't want to work with you. And
what'd they say?
He was like, understandable. He's like, I'm sorry. And it might have been out of this guy's control a little bit because he was just the marketing guy. However, as a whole, the situation was handled really poorly. And that's just like a prime example of the stuff that no one sees. Like, this stuff happens all the time. and it's a ton of work and it's very frustrating, but that's what you got to do to do what we do.
That kind of stuff happens a lot in it doesn't have to be guns, like people contacting. I mean, you and I get messages every day from somebody in China that's selling flashlights.
Oh my gosh.
You know, that they want to, I mean, they're trying to find people to sell product. My first business was cutting trees down. I've always been kind of a hustler, trying to find ways to make money. And one of my uncles I worked with as a teenager, he was a carpenter, but we would clear forest to build a house. And he wasn't cheap. He was just frugal. Like, I know how to cut trees. My uncle, as such, I'll cut these down and then we'll build the house. I don't need to pay somebody. So I learned how to fell trees. So I started doing that. I invested money in a couple high-end chainsaws, and I created a business, and I'd go out and drop trees and turn them into firewood. And I would
big insurance policy to do that stuff.
What's that?
I feel like you need a big insurance policy.
Actually, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. A couple grand a year. But
okay.
I would go to builders, and this is pre-internet, you know, like 20-something years ago, 20 years ago, 22, 23 years ago. I'd go to just builders, like the guys that I knew developed homes like that, and I'd just walk in the door and start talking to them. I'd take flyers and go put them in mailboxes, and I had a remodeling business. I would drive around and put flyers on people's doors, thousands of doors, and I knew I would get, if I put 10,000 of them out, I'd get maybe 20 phone calls. Mm-hmm. And I went and did it. And that's what those people are doing. They're just trying to find somebody, but many of them don't have a budget, like I didn't. I couldn't afford to pay somebody to market, so they don't have the money. But I've had that happen a few times. Guys have sent me stuff, I didn't even request it. They find our P.O. box, send something, and then they're like, "Why haven't you done a video?" Well, why would I? You know, if I don't even open the thing. Not that I'm a prick, but you think I just exist to market your product? Maybe you should have called me, sent a letter, sent an email, you know, done something, requested, and then go send it back. Sure, send me a
return
prepaid
label.
I'll slip it on there and drop. I ain't paying to send your whatever widget back. Nuts.
That I was so fed up with that last story that I paid to send the gun back.
I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I was just like, yo, I just want this out of my hands. But no, you're right. A lot of companies, I have a public PO box too, and I've never had a case like that where someone's like, yo, we sent you something, why didn't we see it in a video? Because I typically open all my boxes on video. But yeah, man, that doesn't surprise me that companies do that as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of tells a little bit about, it's like one side of this whole crazy social media world we have now, is businesses think, I'm going to give you this thing, even if it's expensive. I mean, I do work with companies whose product is thousands of dollars. Just because you give me one or attempt to give me one, that doesn't pay my electric bill. It doesn't put my daughter through college.
Right.
I don't need a freaking whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, like lights, like you said, man, like I've worked with companies who
will be happy to compensate you with a free light.
Yeah. Or I love when they say, we're also open to compensating you for your time. What would you charge us for that? It's like, how about, like, I understand that, but also, like, do a little bit of research and make me an offer. Because if you don't know, if you don't have an idea of what the value might be, there are ways to find this information, by the way.
Yeah.
Like companies out there, I base my prices, which I don't do sponsored videos like hardly ever, but if I do, I base my prices off of what you can find on the internet. And when I do that and the company comes back with a number like way under that, like that's a tricky situation, because it's hard for me to value my work, because I know what it costs me time and effort wise, but at the same time, it's so situational. Like if someone has a killer product, this goes back to what I said. If you wouldn't do it for $1, don't do it for $1 million. You kind of have to, it's hard. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's hard to value
I know exactly
your
what you're
own
saying.
work. I guess because you do it too.
Well, you have to attach a dollar amount to it. I've done stuff for many companies that I'm friends with them, but they'll say, hey, we know you can produce better content than I can. Like the owner will say that. Yeah, you're right, I can. I'm just kidding. But like, what do you want? We want a video like you do it on my XYZ product. Do you want it for Instagram, for YouTube? Do you want it to put on your website? What is it? And they'll tell us, and I'll say, okay, man, I can do that for $8,000. And I know for a fact they can't go hire somebody to write a script, film it, edit it, cut it to where they can utilize it for Instagram, YouTube, their website. And I can't do all that, but the guys I work with can. And I don't do that stuff often because that's not, you get mired in that world and I can't go shoot guns. But people will ask me, and sometimes I've done it, and other guys have been like, you're crazy. And then a year later, how'd that work out? I never did it. I couldn't afford it because when I piecemealed it all out, I had to go find a guy that knew how to video, a guy that knew how to write a script, a guy that knew how to edit, and then somebody that had savvy on how to get the shit into the different formats I needed it. Because most photographers and video guys, they're not editors, and most editors don't know shit about social media, you know? Yeah, it's interesting.
It does get tricky though too when what I find is that if a company reaches out to me, we'll use flashlights as an example again. If this company's like, here, we want you to review this flashlight, what would it cost us? And I say, whatever, X amount of dollars, say $1,000 to do a full dedicated review and put it out to my audience of 400,000 plus. If I quote them at something that's too high for them, they'll just go to the next person down their list. Like, how many times have you gotten an email where they send it to everyone?
Yeah.
I always like those emails.
That is legit. That's what trolling is. They got a big net out, casted a big net, and they're trying to see who bites.
Right. So like sometimes, because I know that companies do that, sometimes it makes me undercut myself because like I'm like, okay, well I want to do this project. I think the product is cool and everything, but I don't want them to think it's too much and then move on to the next person.
Yeah, that doesn't happen with me. But one thing I see pop up a lot. I've got friends like my buddy Les Kismartoni, or you could just look at Instagram accounts of people. Like we can look at shooters or skiers or anybody that's a professional, like JJ Racaza. He doesn't have 1 million Instagram subscribers because he's not a social media dude. He goes and shoots guns and trains and wins national and world titles. And then, yes, he has sponsors and people that support him, but not like you or I would, because he doesn't connect to the same audience. And a lot of times, like I have products that guys will say, well, I'm using this guy to promote it. That's fine, but he's got a reach of 3,000. So that his ability to win a trophy is not commensurate with his ability to reach a broad audience. You got a billboard on a gravel road. It's a nice gravel road. I've got a billboard on a 8-lane expressway that's got a lot of traffic where people stop and have to stare all day long.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want?
I always find that pretty amusing too when I was in a meeting with a company sort of recently where they were talking about, they're asking me questions about marketing, and they're throwing out big names of people that they've like worked with and stuff like that.
Like they're going to impress you.
Yeah, like they're going to wow me. And putting it into the same type of terms, say they are talking about reviewing a gun and they're like, oh yeah, we have people like JJ Racaza out there shooting it. I'm like,
and for the record, JJ's my friend and I love him. Yeah,
he's a great dude. Like I've hung out with him in person too, amazing shooter. But when I hear stuff like that, like companies are using his status of like, we know who he is. He is one of the best shooters around right now. And like, yes, that is very impressive, but it's not impressive in the terms that they're speaking on. Like
Not from a
I know
sales and
that,
marketing standpoint.
yeah, and he knows that he's not a marketing guy. Like he runs a very successful shop out in Las Vegas and things like that. But first and foremost, like he doesn't make videos. He's not there to talk to an audience and share experiences and stuff like that. He's out there to run a gun, and he's damn good at it.
And win. Yeah, and win. Yeah.
I always find that really funny when companies try to use that as leverage. Like, we work with this person and that person, and I'm like, dude, I don't care.
I've got a bunch of friends that shoot on a national level for a manufacturer, like not little manufacturers, like big manufacturers, and to wear that jersey that says Acme Gun Company, whatever it might be, and win big matches. They might get a gun and maybe some match fees paid. You know, like that's it. Because they're not, and people are like, that's bullshit. They're not selling any guns. There's a group that big of people that pay attention to that. Even like in the big scheme of social media, you ask somebody to start dropping names of competitive shooters just to go down that rabbit hole. And most young men that like to look at pictures of Gucci'd out rifles and Glocks will have no idea who any of those people are.
Yeah. Here's a quick tip to any company listening who puts their advertisements on those shirts. Change them, because they are ugly, dude. I've never seen one of those shirts and I'm like, yo, that's cool, I would wear that. That's bad, dude.
I agree. You know, my buddy Aaron Cooper and I were driving yesterday. You met Aaron, Strong Ranger.
Yeah.
The last S12. We're driving and we both picked up on this late model sedan that had, like, you know, the graphics like are on my trailer, you know, like the vinyl graphics.
Right.
We both looked at it from like 100 feet away. It looked like the car was like, I don't know, graffitied or dented or rusted. And we're like, what the hell? And he gets close and you realize it was like front door and back door of a 4-door sedan. It was just all text. It was like a company that did granite countertops.
That's what those shirts look like.
Yeah, it was just insanity. Like, we both simultaneously were like, even if you were right next to it, you'd never be able to read it all. And the only reason I knew it said granite countertops was that was the one bit of text I saw. You know, it was like where the showroom is, how many years they've been in business, how many freaking bathrooms they have at the warehouse. Like, it was just like, you're right.
Less is more, man.
But that tells you about the nature of the person in the marketing department. It's like a NASCAR or anything else. Like, we just want to make sure the name is. It's funny you bring that up. I was just watching a UFC fight, and I pick up on, like, you're reading, like, around the ring, like the, you know, Randy's hardware store. And you're like, I wonder what Randy paid to have his name, like, on an angle on this little foam pad thing.
Dude, I think about that all the time, like hockey games and stuff, and it's just plastered all around on the boards of, like, different companies.
The only person winning is the sales guy and the guy printing the graphics.
Yeah, it's an interesting world that we're.
I did a billboard a number of years ago, the digital billboards that are existing now, and they sell you based on how many views per minute or hour or day they think motorists will have, and it's a contrived number because you can estimate traffic patterns, but you don't know who's looking and reading. And then, of course, there's like the whole argument of if that person even needs what you're selling. So I went and sat there one day at the billboard. It was expensive. Like, we're talking a couple grand a month for this big billboard on the side of a highway. And I'm watching it, and I'm writing down how often my ad comes up and how long it stays. And I'm like, man, this is total bullshit. Like, they're doing what they told me, but, like, this is the chance of the same motorist being at this intersection at a red light, looking at that and seeing my ad enough times for it to be meaningful. It's a complete waste of garbage, or it's complete garbage. But, like, that's what all that is.
I've always wondered that, because whenever I see those, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, what did that ad say? As it changes, and then the light turns green, and I'm gone. And I didn't.
Then you're looking at, like, something for a dermatologist pops up or whatever.
Yeah, it's always some kind of doctor's office or something.
And I think that's you probably see this. I find I'm careful now to not offer too much information. I spend more time educating the manufacturer on marketing when we're talking than, like, You got any idea what you're just like, they start talking about views and likes.
Yep.
Views and likes don't sell shit.
What's funny to me too is the same situation where a company was like talking about who they've worked with and stuff like that. When they ask me advice and I tell them flat out, like, the way it is, like, in this situation, this is what most creator people would expect. And then they fire back and like interrupt you and they're like, oh, well, see, we thought this and that and blah, blah, blah. And we're doing things this way because X, Y, and Z. I'm like, hey, man, you're asking me for advice. Do you want to know what someone who is successful in this field is?
Or do you want me to agree with you?
Or do you want to have this conversation 100 times with a bunch of people while you're telling your story? Like, people talk too much and they don't listen quite enough.
I'm guilty of that sometimes. But if I need something and I don't know, I don't go to the doctor and tell them what I read on freaking Medicalpedia or whatever.
It's like, hey doc, I'm having a trouble breathing and I really don't know what's going on. He's like, oh, well, you smoke a carton of cigarettes a day, so
No,
you probably have lung cancer. You should stop doing that. And then you turn around and go, oh, well, no. I mean, I love smoking, so I'm not going to do that. But what can I do? He's like, hey, man, you can stop smoking.
I'm listening and I'm imagining right now all the people that have told me. I don't want to say names, but there's companies I've tried helping. There's a guy I've offered to have him on this podcast because I think he's a good person. I literally spent like 4 hours and I wrote him a list of things to do that I would tell to my son if he was starting a business or trying to do something. And like, here's some names of guys that will help you. And then I've talked to him again, like he hasn't done any of it. Like, you're going to come on the podcast? Well, I need you to send me a list of the things you want to talk about so I'm not blindsided. Like
it's a conversation.
Yeah, and now you are calling asking me all this. Now you think I'm going to like try to screw you over or something? Or like I'm not doing a bunch of extra work to make it any easier for you. I'm giving you like you don't care. You don't believe in what you're doing if you don't want to hang your neck out there and do anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That's how it goes, man.
That is, and that's I think what separates the businesses that keep cranking and like you're talking about grinding it out, or when we talked earlier and making stuff happen versus make a few videos, don't get a result, say it's too hard and back off.
Yeah. Like we're talking about advice for companies who are doing a lot of the wrong things. However, there's a lot of people who are doing great things. They're doing things properly and we have great relationships with them. And we're not talking about that because we don't there's no advice to give from that. They're doing the right thing. It's easier to learn from mistakes, which is why we're having this whole way
to bring it full circle, brother. Hey, I find it to be more, I like the game of building a business and a brand more than probably anything else. It's why I enjoyed politics beyond the motivation behind the politics. It's why I like CarryTrainer and everything else we do. I like the game of building the brand. It's fun.
That's what I was going to say too about the new channel that I started. Like I know it's going to be a hell of a lot of work, and I said it felt like I'm stabbing myself when I had to delete all these videos and everything. But on the bright side, I like the game. Like, I like making videos and I want to grow another channel again because it's fun to do. It's fun to see that growth, and it's going to be beneficial because it's more niche and it's only guns now on that channel. So I won't have people complaining like, yo, I thought you shoot guns, not ride skateboards and ski and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well now here, if you want this specific thing, that's where you go to get that.
Tell your mom to stop texting me at night. That's
what?
That's what I would have responded to that guy.
Oh yeah, dude, you're brutal in your comments.
Am I?
I think so. Yeah.
Have you read some?
Yeah, dude.
It depends. There are people that need to be punched in the teeth, and I will respond to them. I love you, man. You need a hug.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if there are people
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying that I personally just ignore people, whereas you're like, which is good. I mean, you're engaging with people, and
I
you're like,
ignore many people. I said I ignore many people, but there's some that like, did you really just say that?
Yeah. If it gives me that like that kind of like head tilt, I'm like, did you really just say that? Typically, I know that I don't want to have a conversation. I'm just like, you know
You're
what?
smarter than. Well, you delete a lot of that stuff too. You just delete it if they're in.
It depends. I typically don't delete comments. However, I block people from my comments.
Block them. Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
very
what I should
rarely.
have said.
Right. Yeah, but
You just say if you're going to be an asshole, you can't be here and play.
yeah, like if I could block someone from watching my videos entirely after leaving like a complete ignorant derogatory comment, then like if it's not constructive in any way, shape, or form, if it's just like, hey, you hipster millennial, blah blah blah, put that gun to your head, like stuff like that, I'm like, yo, like don't watch my videos. And I've gotten stuff like that.
Nobody made you just sit here. Like I did one about and I put a lot of work in to do it. It was about some constitutional law, some history of law, and then guys are like, you're a idiot, you don't know anything. All right, cool, man, that's your opinion. But like I did like 2 weeks of research in writing to be able to give you that 10 minutes that you watch. Like what research did you do? Like validate it. Give me something.
Right.
Like, are you just going to be a jackass? Because it doesn't make my opinion incorrect because you don't like it.
I don't know if you may have experienced this. However, I have not. But all of these people, they're sitting behind a keyboard, slamming away with their Cheeto dust-covered fingers and everything. Keyboard
like
warriors. Don't lick it up. I have not, which this is a part where you might have run into this. I have not run into someone in person who I get into a conversation with and they're just straight up like, I don't like what you do. I think you're setting a bad example. Like what you do provides no value. I've never had someone come up and like
identify themselves,
literally confront me, because straight up, like I get along with pretty much anyone. If we have conflicting views, even if you don't like guns, like I'm not going to just attack you. I'll sit here and have a conversation with you, but I've never met anyone with the hostility that you see from the internet, because you have that
I got a buddy, his name's Brian Mackenzie. I've had him on the podcast before. He's a ultra marathon runner, like a world class athlete,
I think I remember
specialist in breath. And he and I were just talking about this because like he'll say his stuff is, I don't want to say it's out there, it's scientifically validated. He was just at the Cleveland Clinic, like one of the premier medical clinics in the country, presenting to a team of surgeons that asked him to be there. You know, he didn't go there to sell them something. They brought him out from California. Stanford University, their medical department has had validated his stuff. So he's like, he'll look at some of that stuff. He said it used to make him, my words, not his, but like irate and angry, like as people were attacking his work. Now he looks at it and says, why is this person doing this? Because they're looking for validation. They've got something missing. And so you just identify it as like, we joke around Cheeto guy, but there's some trolls, man. Like that dude, a friend of mine found out who he is. He's a car mechanic at a dealership in Northern California. He's a troll on Instagram that like says, he calls people pedophiles and just like terrible shit. Like you take a picture of you and say like, this guy likes to have sex with kids, and puts it on the internet and makes it look real. Like you're a scumbag.
Yeah.
Like who are you? Why would you do that?
Going off that validation thing, another thing with the internet, which is kind of a long thought, but I don't know how much time you have.
Because you need to get that thought out.
When you think about Amazon reviews, Yelp reviews, a lot of the times you will see
right where you're going.
5 stars and you'll see 1 stars. People are only going to leave 5-star reviews when they like really had a kick-ass time, like it was over the top. And then you have the 1-star people, which is typically more than the 5-star people, because if you had a mediocre to bad experience, you're going to want to tell people about it because you feel like you were treated unfairly.
Yeah.
So if you put that into comment sections, so if you are, if I'm reviewing a gun and I say great things about it, I'm automatically a shill. I was paid for the review. I'm completely biased because I think this thing rocks.
You say bad things.
On the other hand, I say bad things and I'm an idiot and I don't shoot. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're not professional. This guy just does this on the internet. Look at his beard.
Right. And a lot of those people are mad for the reason of me not liking something where they are coming to my video to justify their purchase.
Yeah.
If I'm reviewing a super budget gun and I say some things that I don't like about it, they're going to take that to heart because they're like, oh, well, this is my gun and this is what I carry every day. And you're an idiot. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a Glock fanboy. I'm like,
validating their intelligence to make a good purchase or invalidating. Right. You're saying you're stupid and don't know how to choose a good gun. I'll have people send me stuff like, Mick just did a video on a Glock 43. Yeah, but have you ever done a video on a blah, 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 Model 2 built after, like, like super specific. Like, clearly you have that gun. And I'm sure it's great. Like, I'll say, like, no, I don't own that, but I bet it's great. And clearly you have one. Like,
I get that a lot. And you can tell, too. Like
if I told you it sucked, would you go throw it in the lake?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I only review stuff now that I'm like truly stoked on, or if I'm very interested in as well. Like, maybe the gun is gonna be bad, but if I for some reason am interested in it, I'm still gonna do a review on it. But it's a very double-edged sword when it comes to that stuff because of what we just talked about. So for those reasons, like all of the new videos that I'm doing on the Sunday Gunday channel are like stuff that I'm going to seem overly stoked on. I have a video coming out this Sunday, actually. After I filmed the video, like last weekend, I had to go on my...
Say the date of when it's coming out, because by the time this video's up, it might be in the past.
Okay, it'll be coming out, what's today, the 19th, which means it'll be coming out the 24th, this coming Sunday of November.
Okay.
I had to go on my Instagram after I filmed the video, and I was like, hey guys, just giving you a heads up, I filmed a video on this gun today, and it rocked. Like, I was blown away. I'm like, this thing was super cool, and you guys are going to think I'm biased, but like all my videos, like I'm not biased at all. It just like really connected with me, and like you're going to think that I'm a shill and was paid a lot to say good things, but I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed shooting the gun that much that it's cool. I mean, I can tell you what it is now. This podcast isn't coming out. It was a 2011 from Bull Armory.
Okay.
It's called their SAS2 Viper, and they basically...
What's that retail for?
Retail, I believe, is $1,800.
So fairly affordable for a 2011.
Yeah, fairly affordable. The
expensive,
Bull Armory,
but compared to like some of the other guns that are $3-4 grand.
Right. So you can sort of compare them to STI, would be like the big one that everyone knows about. Known for race guns. However, they took their race gun and packed it down into I think it's a 3.8 inch ported barrel. Is it a 9 or a 40? It's a 9. It's a solid piece. It comes with an RMSC mounted on top of it.
Wow.
Killer gun. Super good trigger and everything. It was a lot of fun to shoot. But
that's cool.
Again, not paid to say that. It just rocks.
Dude, I did that video on the Taurus G2 that people literally, you don't know anything about shooting. And it's like, well, you're a dumb. Clearly I know something about shooting. Like I'm not like the end all be all, but like go watch some of the videos and I'm shooting. Like you can see that I'm at least an amateur. And then he just hates Taurus. In the same video, I say, I don't hate Taurus. Here's another Taurus that's only $200 that I love. And I'd buy 10 of them. Like, but they overlook the simple
Dude, people will comment on a 30-minute video. They'll timestamp one thing that you said that they don't agree with, and they'll comment about it.
Yeah, your pronunciation of that word was wrong.
Yeah, just dumb shit. I had a dude earlier. I posted a video on a skateboard today, and someone timestamped 2 different timestamps. It was like 5:30 and 5:34 or something like that. And they're like, "Yo, bro, you should check your fly." And like, I guess my fly was down in the video or something.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what are you like? You're making yourself look like a weirdo for commenting.
I knew somebody was out there looking for my dick, and
I'm just gonna leave it unzipped the entire time I film now.
You know, a little bit of self-awareness about myself. Like part of my thing about responding to people is it's customer service. I feel like I'm providing this product. If somebody took the time to view it and comment, and if it's like a straight up hateful, stupid thing, I don't give them a response. But if I feel like, well, the way I take it is I should have or could have done a better job of relaying my message if that's what they took away.
Oh my gosh, getting a phone call. Sorry.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how are you with DMs? Are you the same way? Like, are you responding to everyone in direct messages?
Thousands of thousands. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, the only time I don't is if it's another language that I'll get people constantly that ask, can I come to your class? I'm from Turkey or wherever. And I'm not against people from those countries learning. It is illegal, according to ITAR law, to train those people in class. So, hey, man, it's against federal law for you to attend a course. Sorry.
You ever get kids like DMing?
For sure. You? So I will have kids send me stuff, and I will just say, hey, whatever their name is, Tom, I appreciate that you're looking to learn. This channel is not suitable content for you. I know that that's not what you want to hear. I'll say shit like, stay in school, man, be good to your friends, love yourself enough to get good grades, and, be well. Like, I'm not going to, I remember being that age, and it would have crushed me to have an adult tell me, like, you're too young, kid, get out of here. But
yeah.
Some of I'm vulgar at times, and we're talking about things that I think some youngsters shouldn't be thinking about.
Right. I have an issue with opening DMs with people because once you give them an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah.
So like I get people, I will answer a question because it was worded very nicely and everything like that. But then they just ask like 30 follow-up questions like I'm Google. Like asking very simple questions.
I get it.
And then I feel bad leaving them on red.
I'll tell people this. I appreciate that you trust my opinion. And if I had the time, I would do my best to answer them. But you got to understand, I'm at work just like you're probably at work. And the best place to get these questions answered is one of my classes. That you don't have that same dynamic. But like for you, become one of my Patreon members where you have better access to me. I'm sorry, I have other responsibilities to attend to, so I can't be that accessible as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, that's what I've been using Patreon for that. Like my phone's going off right now with the guys on Patreon, and like we talk.
What do you use on your skateboard wheels?
They don't know. They're asking like gun questions mostly, but a lot of I use that to legit, like I talk to those guys every day. If anytime anyone who's over there wanted to message me, they would be like, yo, Talon, what'd you just eat for lunch? I'd be like, yo, what up, man? I just had a Reuben sandwich, whatever, like chilling here. Like it's like having a conversation.
I feel that is one of the people using social media for business forget one key word: social. It's not remember when Facebook exploded years ago and people be like, follow my landscaping company on Facebook. Why in the flying do I want to go on Facebook and look at, no offense, your landscaping company or the bank or, or the local fire department's Facebook page? It's not that those people aren't good people, but that's not what social media is. It's a way to interact. And so I think there's all these young people or older people that are in marketing that are now, it's like they check the boxes. My company needs a Facebook page, a Twitter page, an Instagram page, like Sally's Diner Facebook page where we make the best food. that doesn't make people want to subscribe to your page. And when they do, how does it convert them to be a customer? It's weird. Like
that kind of overlap is weird. However, like when it comes to friends and family, I'm going to throw you a like on your page. Like we're all trying to.
Of course.
Right.
Of course. I got no problem with it. But the bank, the whatever, provide some content or interact with the people.
Yeah. Like they don't even need like my bank downtown. They don't need an Instagram.
Right.
Like it's
now there could be like a teller there that's like Talon's Bank and whatever it's called, Talon's Bank Teller, a day in the life, and every day she could post the funniest thing that happened or something, and then it's like, oh, that's fucking. Now there's a reason to go there, but like
now
just
social media.
We've got a special rate on auto loans, 4.2%. Like who the wants to look at that image? Nobody.
No.
Nobody does. But the marketers think they're marketing because they're putting this garbage into the ether. That was the point. Not that they shouldn't do it, or I don't have time to respond to those people. What you just said is you don't have time to forge a relationship with somebody you're asking to pay you or pay attention to you. Why should they if you're so selfish?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always try to, like, if you're leaving comments, especially on Instagram, like if it's something that deserves a reply, if it's like thought-provoking or whatever, like I'm replying for sure. But I thought about replying to some more on DMs. I don't know. Maybe
I scroll through a content creator app on YouTube like once a day at the comments, and a lot of them cause my heart rate to spike, because it's just like some of it is just such demeaning, vile garbage. Yeah. And I instantly remind myself that guy doesn't affect the outcome of my life. In my time,
he's having a bad day, like something.
Yeah, he needs a hug.
He's a
douchebag.
Yeah. He's a douche.
He drives a Dodge, most likely.
There's people out there right now slamming on. What's wrong with Dodge, bro?
Nothing, dude. Sharon and I were in California a few weeks ago, and I was supposed to get like a little SUV because we had a lot of luggage, and they screwed up, so they hooked me up with an RT Charger, which is like 370 horse Charger. V8, the 5.7.
Yeah.
And it's a quick car for a big car. And we started it up, Sharon looks at me just like, shit. So for 5 days, and that's a Dodge. I have one of those.
Yeah.
Not a Dodge pickup truck.
I like the Challengers. I like the Chargers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. I think in the roundabout sense, the conversation has kind of matriculated and trickled into customer service. And that's something I think the reason that you and I have any success is because we care about the product and we care about giving the customer what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're there to talk and communicate with the people who support us by watching and liking all that stuff. So.
Parting words, if you somebody looking to develop a deeper connection as a social media person or help their brand awareness, what kind of parting words would you have
for people trying to
people listening to this that are building their own brands, or maybe they're a marketing guy for a company or marketing gal? Let me predicate that. At the end of the day, we're better at this than most people. I don't feel bad saying it.
Yeah, I'm very confident in agreeing with that as well. I'd rather give advice to the people who are trying to grow their own personal. Like we've given a ton of advice from our perspectives to companies already. Who, if you guys haven't picked up on what we've been putting down, then you're way behind. Like we've given you a lot of information. But as far as people trying to do it themselves, whether they're a business owner, I did a video recently giving like some of the best advice that I've learned as far as YouTube goes, but you can apply it to some other things like a musician or an athlete or things like that. And I'll sum it up relatively quickly. But when you're a beginner at something, you're focused on the gear. So new shooters, they're going out, they're buying Glocks and they're tricking them out and putting this and that on them. Mm-hmm. And that's not what's important. So the people who are intermediate, the people who have been shooting for a little while now and they're starting to go to trainings, they're super focused on, okay, this might not, applying it to shooting might not be the best thing in this sense, but they're super focused on having the expert perfect draw and making sure everything is like super in line, and the techniques, that everything that they're using is by the books. And again, that's not really what you should be focusing on. So the people who are professional at what they do in a shooting sense, those are the guys who are out there training. They're doing what they need to do to fight, to save their lives, to be a better person. In regards to a musician, beginners are worried about having the best guitar. Intermediate people are worrying about the techniques and the finger scales. The professionals are out there jamming, like making music and writing songs and things like that. And then in the sense of YouTube,
passionate.
you got to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Video creators and photographers are worried about having the best camera if you're a beginner. Intermediate people are worried about the f-stop and having the right lighting and everything.
I got to throw out something there. I don't know how many people have asked me, like, can I come over and look at your podcast setup? Yeah, if you want to, but take your phone, go buy a $12 tripod on Amazon, take your earbud and start, like,
That's
you don't need to buy all this stuff.
100%. So the people who are professionals and they're doing it are just that. They're using what they have. They're not worried about the technique so much, and they're not worried about having the best of the best. I mean, look at us right now. I'm sitting here with my laptop, a microphone, and a ring light just cranked on like super bright.
I've got 8 crew members behind me here. Bob, we'll be done in a minute.
We'll be done in a second. But yeah, don't focus so much on the process. Focus on doing it. It sounds so cliche, but that's the best advice that I've received.
I dig it. I think that's great advice. So at the end of the day, all the crap in the closet, all the crap that you bought on Amazon, the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, none of it means shit if you don't put in action and do it.
Exactly. The stuff is important to an extent, but it's not going to be important until you're actually at a point where you can benefit from those things that you've learned and those things that you've bought.
Right on. I dig it. It's kind of like food. You can take like 4 or 5 just awesome ingredients out of a garden and create really good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just basic stuff. Yeah. Just basic stuff. People make this stuff way too hard. I appreciate your time, bro. I look forward to seeing you again. I know you're not sure if you're coming to S12, and I'm really hoping that you're going to be there. I think you're a bum if you're not going to be, but I get it if you're not, because you're a bum.
We've got a couple weeks left. I'm looking at my calendar again now. S12 is coming up in
a couple weeks. It's going to be exciting.
It's in 2 weeks away.
2.5 weeks.
2.5. Yeah, man. I'll shoot you a text when I have a better idea. What is that?
A new aim point for my Langdon Tactical Beretta 1301 Shotty.
The ScalarWorks mount, those things are dope. I have that exact setup on my home defense AR.
Used to. Go look in the closet. You got a good eye that you knew that. I wouldn't have known that by looking at it.
Yeah, Aimpoint T2 Micro, the ScalarWorks Elite mount. This
is a T1, but...
Oh, T1.
Yeah. You know that. I'm not a Geardo. Yeah, ScalarWorks. You like them, huh?
Yeah. Super good machining on those. They're very expensive, but they're great. Lock on is super tight, and I have 2 of those mounts now. Just
showed up in the mail. When I hang up with you, it's going on that 1301, and I'm going to start dry running it around the kitchen.
I think you'll like it.
I think so too. I appreciate you, man. I look forward to seeing you soon. You guys listening, if you haven't checked out Talon's YouTube channels, there's 2 of them out there. One of them's now called Sunday Gunday. The other one is Talon Sei, S-E-I, and same name on Instagram. You may see him riding around on like an electric board thing. What do they call this?
Electric skateboards, one wheels.
What do they call those things? You may see him blasting down a mountain. You may see his beard blowing in the breeze as his hippie van goes by.
That's true. That's happened.
Sweet hippie van. I love it. Be well. Don't be a dickhead. Tell somebody you love them. If we don't see you, we hope to. Bye now.
Visit our website, CarryTrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., CarryTrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@CarryTrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@CarryTrainer.com or CarryTrainer.com.